vicious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! And they are back on terms!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and we have a signing to talk about. We signed somebody. It's the most exciting time of the season. The first signings through the door. The new kit's been released. It's all fun and games. So we're going to cover all that, as well as any rumours that pop up, and the latest on Smith's contract, which is not a thing. First of all, let's introduce who we have. We have Mick with us. Michael, hello.
Hello. Hiya.
Hello.
All right.
Benjamin's with us. Benjamin.
Hello.
Nice to have you and your hair with us.
Thank you.
Danny's with us. How are you doing, Danny?
I'm all right, thank you.
Jordan Concannon wants to know if you've slept yet, Danny.
I have. Thank you, Jordan.
Excellent, excellent. And Nathan is joining us. Nathan, you're a Charlton fan, and we're going to talk to you about Connor Washington today because we want to know all about him. So thank you for joining us, first of all.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
So let's jump straight in. Connor Washington signed a 2-year deal for us on Friday, having left Charlton. Was he offered a new deal and turned it down?
Well, there's rumblings that he wasn't offered a contract at all, but I don't think we're ever going to get to the bottom of what actually happened. But from Connor speaking to the press before the end of the season, he was happy there, and nothing's come about. And when they released the retained list, he wasn't on it. So, which was, I think, was a big surprise, considering the relationship he's sort of striking up with Jayden Stockley. But I think it was a little bit of a shock. But in terms of whether he was offered one or if he wanted more money, it will all be hearsay. So I wouldn't want to comment on it. But gutted, to be honest. Yeah.
So when anybody signs a striker, the first thing you do is look at his goal scoring record. That's just what you do. And to be fair, it's not a terrible goal scoring record. Last season, 11 goals in 38 games. It's not blistering, but from that side again, that's a decent enough return for a striker.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of, as you say, naturally, all of us fans, when you sign a striker, you're going, are you going to sign the next? I don't know, Cristiano Ronaldo, but obviously we're not, because we're in the League One and, well, you guys are in the Championship, so they're at that level for a reason. But I think with Connor, I think the only thing I'll say with him last year is when Nigel Adkins was here, he played him on the left. So a good, of those 38 played, good 10, 12, 13, 14 games he played on the left, which, I mean, he can play there, and he can do a job, but that's not what he's about. It's not what his attributes are. And when Jackson came in charge and he played him down the middle with Jayden, similar traits to Michael Smith, that's when you get the best of him. Good record. Yeah, he missed a little bit of the season through the crucial bit, really, when we were playing all the bigger teams, and he was injured. So I like him. I think he's a good player. But I think he's played at the Championship level before. But I don't think he's going to be that 20 goal a season that everyone's wanting, but I think he's definitely a good squad player for Championship League One.
What are his strengths then? Has he got any pace? Is he big and strong? Is he just a workhorse? What we will see are the best of him?
Yeah, so I think he's not the type of sort of player that you'll play sort of one up top on his own. He's not really going to hold the ball up. He's not going to bring others into play. The type of player he's a willing runner. He can trigger presses if that's the way you guys are going to play. He works very well. And there was a couple of goals last season. If your keeper's on the game and plays the long ball over, I think one was against Burton, and I can't remember who the other one, Morecambe, I think. He's got that ability to get in behind, and he's one of those players. If you're a centre half, you don't want him sort of chasing you down every 5 seconds, and you're always worried where he's going to go. He doesn't really stay static. He always likes to those intelligent. I call him an intelligent forward, I would say. Yeah. But I think he just gives a lot of teams a different dimensions, especially if you're doing a pressing game, or especially if you're playing up top with Michael Smith, whether that's starting or coming off. I think it's a good shrewd signing for you guys.
But from what Nathan's saying, Mick, that ticks a lot of the boxes, other than obviously the goal scoring. It doesn't score 25 a season, which we want, but we can't have. everything else sort of ticks everything, doesn't it?
It does, and it's perhaps an indication that one is fully intending to continue to play the way that we played this season in that with that high press, high energy game. We know as well as anybody else, and who watched us last time out in Championship, that worked. That worked a lot of the time. Our issues were purely and simply not taking the chances that were created. This lad sounds to me like he's not going to be that man that takes those chances. However, if he's going to be up there in that press, that's a proper bonus for us. It sounds to me from what people have said like a typical Paul Warren player. High energy, high press, will run till for 96 minutes a game. It sounds like a shrewd signing to me, but I don't know. Not seen the guy play, so
time will tell, won't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's also one of those that if you're in Championship, and you're thinking Rotherham are coming up, you think, oh, this I'm kind of watching. No, I'm not worried about that. But again, it's right for the team. If he went into a different team, it might not work. But if we are going to play a high energy, high press game, Nathan, like we did last time, he's going to fit in perfectly, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and like I say, he's an intelligent footballer. He plays for his country in Northern Ireland, so I don't think Northern Ireland are blessed with centre forwards, to be honest. But he's obviously at a level that he's experienced. And that's what I mean. He's intelligent. He knows when to run. He knows when to press. He'll still pop up with a few goals. And yeah, he's just a general workhorse, really. And I think if that's the way you play, then I can understand why Paul Warren has obviously brought him in to complement your squad that you're going to go into a difficult Championship season, and you're going to need some squad. You can't obviously just rely on one or two forwards. But yeah, no, good signing for you guys. And I think, given chances, he will put them away. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be the clinical sort of 20 goal a season striker. But I think definitely tactically he'll be really, really good for you guys.
Sounds like it. Danny, Mick, Ben, anything else you want to ask Nathan before we let him go? Because he's given us a lot of information. We appreciate that. Boys, anything else you want to ask Nathan? Right. Charlton or Connacht, mainly Connacht, but
Just on Charlton, Nathan, what's the financial situation down there behind the scenes? I know you've had a lot of problems. We kind of just broached it before we went live. I know you had a lot of issues with a bit of a clown of a chairman. Are things looking up, or are you at it frying pan into fire?
Well, I don't know. It just seems every season at the moment we're trying to rebuild. So obviously we ended the season quite disappointingly at Ipswich. And, we had the Player of the Year interview, Johnny Jackson, and everyone was looking forward to it. And then he was sacked 2 days later. So there's been rumours that obviously Ben Garner's due to come in from Swindon. That was announced sort of last week via a local journalist who's a really reliable one. So I don't think he'd come out and say it if he didn't think it was going to happen. But for whatever reason, that's not happened. So yeah, but at the moment we've not got a manager. We've not got really any players. Connor's left, obviously, on free, and a lot of other players. So, I mean, financially, obviously it's anything in football, really. It's an expensive hobby, if you were. So, but I think I think our new owner, Tom Sandgaard, who's Danish. If I compare him to Roland de Châtelet, who was the Belgian one that we had before him, I think he's he's a bit more enthusiastic. I think his heart's in the right place. I just think he can be a bit stubborn sometimes and probably should need some help because we've got a big job and you've got some big clubs down in that League One now. Derby are in it now. Obviously, you guys are specialists of coming down and going back straight back up. But then you look at Sunderland and it took them ages to get out, and I'm glad for them. But so yeah, it's just another rebuilding session, to be honest, Mick. So I don't really know. I mean, everyone's, all my friends are all Tottenham and whatnot. So they're just all saying what's happening. I'm like, I wish I could tell you, mate, to be honest. But we're just going to have to roll with it. And then, I don't know, hopefully we can escape from this league eventually. And but in the meanwhile, I've got some good away days up at Morecambe and Plymouth and everything. So I can look forward to those. Yeah,
Forest Green next year.
Well, Forest Green is in the middle of nowhere, isn't it? I think.
Yeah,
I don't even know if it's training. Because it's all green and everything. You probably have to get a horse and cart there or something. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Brill, cheers for that, Nathan. Really appreciate it. Give us a lot of good information there at Connor Washington. Good luck for next season.
Yeah, good luck to you boys next season.
See you in the
Hopefully stay up this
championship.
time. Yeah, hopefully.
Fingers crossed. Cheers, mate. Thank
Cheers,
you very
lads.
much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you to Nathan for doing that. Ben, again, that's it. Me.
Yeah.
It takes a lot, but well, two things. First of all, you've got a mute button for when you cough.
Me?
Yeah, he coughed twice over Nathan.
Did that?
Also, yeah. Anyway,
I don't remember that.
I'm gonna stop griefing you now and ask you a serious question. That'd be a serious question. Thoughts on Washington? Obviously, we don't. That's why we got Nathan on, because we can look at his goals. We can't see anything else. But what Nathan says, he fits into everything we want. Whether he is going to start or whether he is going to come on, he fits into what we're trying to build. It seems.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's not. Hopefully he's not like some strikers that we've had over the past few years that have come in. Hopefully it's quite different to that. But yeah, no. Obviously, I don't know the kid. I've looked on it. Obviously, looked on his Wikipedia, and that I think he's got 40 plus caps for Northern Ireland. If I'm not
Has he got that many?
mistaken. I think it's 45.
35.
That's it, 35. So I mean, you don't play for your country 35 times if you're not good. You know
Depends
what
which
I mean?
country is.
Yeah, I suppose.
Northern Ireland aren't terrible though. To be fair, they're
No,
not
yeah,
Armenia
not
or
San
Luxembourg,
Marino.
is it?
No, they're not
Yeah,
San
yeah.
Marino. Not San Marino, are they? But yeah, no. If Warney has recruited him, then I must be that man for the job, because Dummo is recruiting in the past bar one player, I think.
If you want to watch Connor Washington in action, he is playing. Well, he was in the Northern Ireland squad, and Northern Ireland are playing Thursday night at home to Greece, which I think is now on Premier Sport actually. So if you haven't got Premier Sport, good luck. They've changed it all over, to be honest with this. But I think they've got 3 or 4 games, much like everybody else. So we'll see a lot of Connor Washington, I suspect, over the next week or two in the green shirt. I don't know why, Danny, but I like people that play for Northern Ireland, because the Northern Ireland football team are a team that are greater than some of their parts. You know what I mean? They're not sort of Wales where they've got some amazing players, but they don't always reach that potential. Or on England, obviously. Northern Ireland always overachieve. And to get those in, that's what we're trying to do, innit? And that sort of fits, again, something else that fits into the Rotherham ethos.
Yeah, like you say about Northern Ireland, they're always a team that seems to do well against the quote-unquote bigger countries. Like, it's not too long since that they drew to all with Germany. Was that in the World Cup or the Euros? I can't quite remember. It might have been the World Cup. But they drew to all with Germany, and it took everyone by surprise. Same with the Nations League. They tend to do very well in that. And we've now got 3 players who are internationals for Northern Ireland. All right, Kieran McGuckin's a youth international, but still counts. And by the sounds of it, one of the things that sold Connor Washington with Rotherham was his chat with Shane Ferguson. Very unfortunate that he's not heading out in Northern Ireland. That injury must be still a bit niggly for him. But if you've got someone who's your international teammate singing the praises of the football club, you're going to take him up on it and link up with him and join Rotherham. And he said that he thinks that Rotherham's system will suit how he plays. So he's obviously done his research on us, which is, in my opinion, great to hear that a player's like, oh, Rotherham are interested. Let's look him up. And he's done his research and he's really, really thought about it. It's not something that his agents brought to him and gone, yeah, Rotherham wants to sign you for this amount per week at this wage or whatever. And he has not really looked it up. He's just gone for like the next paycheck sort of thing. He's really looked it up and thought about it and gone, yeah, I'm happy to go there. But I have just looked up his championship records. It's mainly with QPR, which is a fair bit ago now. But he got 13 goals for QPR in his 4 seasons there. Well, 3.5. And that's an okay record for a striker of his game. You know, like Nathan said, he's more of your workhorse, pressing sort of football, and maybe not your goal scorer type. But if he works hard, that's what we want to see at Rotherham, a player who works hard and puts his all in. And if we do keep Smith, he was a fine backup for Smith, because we saw this season Smith can't do it for the full 46 games, can he? If we've got that second option to just switch it up a little bit, I'm all for it personally. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he's about. I really am interested because I'm not really that bothered about his stats on the paper, which I think some fans do obsess a little bit about. They've looked at his goal scoring record and they're like, oh, it's not particularly good. Doesn't matter. It's about what he does on the football pitch that can provide it for other people. And I think that is Washington's game is like more of the assister rather than the goal scorer, if that makes sense. That sort of centre forward.
Yeah. Anybody interested? Russ Vernon says all Northern Ireland games are on the Premier Sports 1, and they've got a very Mediterranean feel to their games. They've got Greece, Cyprus, Kosovo, and Cyprus again. Enjoy that, Northern Ireland fans. Enjoy your trip over that part of the world. Mick, Jaron Simpson wants to know: do you think he is signing means Smith is going, or do you think he's a replacement for Smith, or do you think we'd have signed him anyway?
I don't. From what I've heard, from what I've seen of him, he's certainly a Michael Smith type player, is he? I think if anybody's worried about people not signing as a result of this particular signing, I think Will Grigg is more a similar type of player than Smithy. So he sounds to me like he's better off playing like a number 10 role rather than an out-and-out striker from the information I've had. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? The one thing I would say is, and I know that goals were a problem last time we were in the Championship. I accept that, and that's something that I'm sure they'll be looking to address through signings or through keeping the players that we've got. But you look at the signings that this recruitment team have come up with, and with the exception of none of them really, I can't think of a bad one. I mean, I know some haven't gone the way that
Freddie did a job.
Say again?
Ben says Freddie, but Freddie did a job.
Freddie did a job. He's got us some goals. We were in double figures every season. He scored some important goals. So yeah, all right. From a personality point of view within the dressing room, it didn't end particularly well. However, other than that, I can't think of a player that this particular recruitment team have brought in and we've shipped out straight away because they were no use. Somebody I'm sure will correct me, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. So they'll have done the background, they'll have done the homework, and they clearly feel it's the right man for the job that they want him to do. So I'm happy with that, and we'll wait and see what the season brings.
Yeah, I agree. First of many. It took 8 or 9 signings, so it's the first of 8 or 9 potentially coming in. Let's just very quickly address the Chio rumour, Danny. The rumour is that Swansea are interested. I don't think we need to talk about the meltdown from Twitter, which was caused by the Irish Sun misquoting Chio Ogbeni. You see a lot of Swansea fans and Swansea analytics people suggesting that, is it last year's contract? I'll get him for 750k. And I just think, what planet are you on? Last year's contract, we got 2 million quid. Send me a giant last year's contract, we got 1.5 million plus add-ons. 750. Get a lot. I just don't get it, Danny.
I mean, from a journalist point of view, it's not a good look for anyone who wants to be an aspiring journalist. I think this is the thing where you look at it and go, yeah, don't do that. Because they specifically asked Chio a question about Swansea and then took his quote about that and just ran with it as their headline and saying, Chio Ogbeni wants to sign for Swansea, and he says they're a massive club and a big step up to play for. Yeah, they are. Swansea's a much bigger club than Rotherham is. They've got a bigger ground. They've got slightly more money than we have, and they compete just up the higher end of the same league as us now. But to ask him that specific question and then just roll with an article about it, it's like, it's clickbait at its finest, in my opinion. They've completely missed the bit in the article where it talked about Chio's happy at Rotherham and is willing to commit to his extended year, his contract, and is wanting to give the Championship another go with us. Glossed over that. Oh no, we'll just run with the Swansea story. Why not? But I do think Chio will honour his year extension with us as a bare minimum, unless we get a really, really silly offer come in, and not like your 1.5-2 million sort of offer. It'd be more of a a payoff for potentially causing relegation, sort of payoff. You know how we sort of wanted about 6 million for Smith at the start of last season.
Yeah.
I'd say similar sort of energy with Chio. There is still a chance he could sign a new deal. One says it might be a little bit unlikely, but depending on how well this year goes with him, I think, and what other teams, might be offering him at the end of this year. But I read the article and I was just laughing the whole way through it. It's like you have no clue. You've just picked up that quote that you've caused and just run with it, which is so funny to see. And 750k for Chio, get in the bin, never.
John Morrell says, transfer market's different since COVID landscape. No one has the huge chunks of cash. Everybody's having to adjust their values. That's fine, but we don't need to sell him. So if we are going to sell him, we have to get what he is worth to us, which is it's worth us at least 3 million quid. He's at least half towards staying up in the Championship. Whether they want to pay that or not, whether anybody will pay that or not, is obviously a different thing because clubs have their way of valuing players. But that's what he's worth to us. So either pay it or get lost. Ben Jarrington says, let him go for his worth and strengthen our squad. So if somebody comes in with 3-4 million quid, I think that'd be a good deal for everybody. Let Chio go, have a pop at a chance at the playoff area, and then we've got 4 million quid, 3 million quid to spend on strengthening elsewhere. But that's all ifs and buts.
Yeah, but that's the kind of model that I think that we're aiming for. I don't know what we signed him for, but it was peanuts, weren't it?
I think was it actually nothing, or were it just?
I don't know. I think it was. I don't know, but still nearly 3 million quid profit if someone comes in with that. So, yeah, I'd take it. Obviously, he's our second best player, one of our best players. But I mean, you can sign 2 or 3 people who are going to come in and be our best players in 3 or 4 years, and you can sign them for 100k each and pocket 2.7 for a rainy day. You know what I mean? I think it's a good model. I think if he goes, it's not end up world. Yeah, I think 2-3 million quid for a recruitment team like ours is not nice.
Imagine not many people.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So,
John Morrell says, but then this is a good counter argument. He says, then we will lose him on a free agent next summer. It's a difficult question that people have to make. But Mick, to say to that, that's exactly what we did with Michael Smith. Michael Smith was worth promotion to us, and we took a huge risk that it may go on a free, and he probably will go on a free. But we took the risk because we knew what it was worth to us, and it worked.
Yeah, absolutely. It's bagged us whatever promotion money is, 6-7 million quid for getting promoted. So yeah, it was a gamble worth taking. And for me, if somebody wants Chio, then that would be great for us as a club, as long as they pay his worth. And if they don't, he'll go for a free in summer, assuming that we're not in a better position then, and can't offer him a better deal.
Very true.
We'll have to wait and see. But you're absolutely right. For me, if somebody's going to come in with the money, absolutely. Like Ben's just said there, that's the model we're aiming to achieve. Of bringing players in for nothing and selling them for decent money. So take it. If not, stays and it can go for free in the summer, or we might be able to get him on a better deal, dependent on what happens. It's got to be worth that while, because you start selling off your best players for less than they're worth, and you end up getting relegated. It's cost you 5 or 6 million. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
I think we know the cost of relegation from the Championship more than most clubs as well. So we know how much money we'll lose if we get relegated. But then we know that if we sell Chio for just over that, then we'll be comfy with going back down again if that happens. But if we keep Chio and stay up, then we've saved X amount by not getting relegated. Yeah. And then Chio will move on to better things anyway. But if someone comes in with that amount of money, just as an upfront thing, and say, right, we'll give you this amount for Chio, and it's a profit, if you like, on getting relegated, then we'll go, yeah, we're happy with that, because we won't then lose that without with Chio just going on a free. If that makes sense,
Yeah. Yes, I agree. So moving on, of course, that was nothing. Theo Lewis, hello guys. Smith not signing, waiting too long.
I have a response to that. Sorry, Theo. Yeah, the reason why Smith's taken a bit too long with contracts is because he's been on holiday, and I don't think he'd want to be signing a paper sat by a pool in wherever he's gone. And I think he came back on Friday. So obviously Saturday something might have happened. Sunday there's not going to be anything else on a Sunday because everyone's at home with the feet up. So we might hear something tomorrow or Tuesday, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Smith's been on holiday, and that's why it's took this week, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. Powerman UK says, Mick, I'm only here to tune in to talk about today's championship referee. We will come on to that. Rotherham United related, we're a championship team now. So that is, we will definitely talk about that. Just a quick answer to a question in the comments. Chris Taylor says, we kick off 30th of July. When does the transfer window close? It closes on the normal time on the 1st of September. So there's still that extra month. And also we have Neil Liversidge says he loved the podcast. It was a great interview. That was the one with Neil Richardson. Great fun. Neil's brilliant. Told some great stories. We have another one coming up. I don't know whether it'll be this week or the week after. We spoke to Chris Sedgwick about those Ronnie Moore years. And again, it's a long one, fully 90 minutes again. So good. Amazing to speak to somebody from that era of that football club. From my point of view, that were a great team. They were a great one, mate.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Some interesting discussion on his move to Preston as well, which surprised me, I'll be honest. So yeah, very good. Very, very good.
Yeah, there's some connectivity issues in that podcast, so it may take some time to edit.
Oh yeah, there were, weren't there? Yeah.
There were some problems.
They weren't Danny either.
It weren't Danny's fault this time. Unbelievable. Though, let's talk about the kit that we've released, the home kit, the 10-year anniversary of moving to New York Stadium, Benjamin. It's a lovely kit. It's a very, very lovely kit, Ben. Do you think so?
Yeah. I think it's got black on it, which is not like Rotherham. I still think it's nice, though. That's an away kit, isn't it?
This is the 2001 home kit with the white stripe right down the middle.
I weren't born then. So.
Black trim. That's why I'm showing you.
Yeah, I think it's nice. I think it's nice. I think the away kit's going to be, if it's the same type of design, depending on the colour, I think the away kit will be nicer. But yeah, I think it's a nice kit, man. I think it's a nice kit.
I think it's going to be one of those kits, Danny, that we won't necessarily get the full effect until we see it in person, because obviously the designs have got pictures of New York Stadium in it, and I've not seen a single picture yet that gives you the actual view of what it looks like, and actual designs on it. Because of how they are, it's very difficult to see on a picture. But that can't make it worse, if that makes sense.
No, I mean it gives me the same vibes as the one from the last championship season. Now we had the cross diamonds on it, and the picture didn't really do it the justice it deserved, because when you really got a good look at it and it said the Millers on the lines, it was like it added that little bit more to it. But for me personally, I really like the black trim on it. It gives me the same vibes as the 93-94 home shirt, which unfortunately I don't have. So if anyone's got it and they want to sell it, just DM me on Twitter. But yeah, I really like it. It's a lot more of a professional sort of kit. A little bit of inspiration from the Man City designs, but the important thing is our 10-year anniversary shirt actually makes sense, because we came back to a stadium 10-year anniversary. There's the 10-year anniversary of a goal that they scored. Well done. But yeah, I really like it. I really do like it. But I'm now very interested to see what the away and third kits look like. I've heard rumours it could be yellow, it could be green, could be both. We'll have to wait and see.
Mick wants yellow.
I want yellow and blue. You know, if we're going down that retro anniversary type route, I want some yellow and sky blue. That's what I want, definitely. I'm not a big fan of the black, much like Ben.
Split opinion, isn't it?
It has, yeah, yeah. Other than that, I think it's great, and I like the little touch of the Steve Evans, you're a fat cheeseburger. In there as well. I love that.
Yeah, Cheryl Stone says the refresher kit. Do you want like the refresher kit? Did you like that? Because I hated
did,
that. I
Big
hated
fan.
it.
Listen, I'm not talking about lots of it.
Right.
I'm talking about similar to what's behind my shoulder there. That sort of combo.
Like the 80s. The 80s one.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We don't want too much blue on there. We don't want getting mistaken for anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jalen Simpson also hoping that the keepers' kits are nice as well. Yeah, the keepers' kits will be lovely from the current season. So hopefully, I don't know when they'll announce them. They haven't announced when they're on sale yet for the Washington kit that they've announced. So keep a close eye on that one. Do you want to talk about the championship players before we talk about some? Well, I don't know what else we've got to talk about actually, but over that. The championship playoff final, the richest game in football, £100 and something million on the line. They brought VAR in to make sure it went to plan, make sure there was no howlers, and lo and behold, there were some howlers. Nottingham Forest won, and fair play to Nottingham Forest. I love former Miller Lewis Grabban, although he's not, not the most popular figure. Well done to him. Mick, let's start with you. The first incident was the Harry Toffolo foul that wasn't given. He was booked for diving, even though he was tripped over. I understand why John Moss, the referee, gave it as he did. Completely understand that it went over theatrically, or it looked like it went over theatrically. But for that not to get overturned and the penalty given by VAR is the second most baffling decision of the game.
There's two parts to it, isn't there? There's two parts to this. Because first of all, as you rightly point out, you've got Harry Toffolo who spends his life rolling about on the floor, screaming in agony every time anybody goes near him. So I suppose in that respect, he got what he deserved, because he'll have done it all season. As we know, we've seen him many, many times. So he probably got what he deserved. And John Moss, if he thinks that it's a dive, that's fine, not a problem. Give him a yellow card. Happy days. Well done. On that, in that respect, if you think it's a dive, blow up, yellow card him. Happy days. No issue with that whatsoever. But then, when you look at it on VAR, it clearly is a penalty. There's no question about it. There's no ifs or buts about it. But you look at, and I don't know whether this is right, and maybe somebody can correct us. When they put this up on the screen that VAR are checking it, are those the replays that VAR are checking at the time? So they check one where it's clearly a penalty, then another where it's clearly a penalty, then another where it's clearly a penalty, then another where you can't see because it's 15 miles away, and then they spend five attempts checking another angle where you can't tell whether it's a penalty or not. Essentially looking to see if they can justify backing up the referee's decision as opposed to giving the right decision. Honestly, mate, it's a shambles.
Mick, you told me the reason that you told me that.
I mean, you put your tinfoil hat on, don't you? It's John Moss's last game. Do we want to be seen to turn over a decision made by a long-standing Premier League referee in his last game? Is that what's going through the heads? Because the issue's been with VAR all the way along the line. They clearly do not want to overturn any decisions made by referees, because it's all about PR, isn't it? It's all about our referees are making the right decisions. And yet, it's like I don't know, the people who run VAR, do they think that none of us can see what they're doing? Because surely that's the case. Because everybody can see that he has been clipped. There's no question about it. It's not a question of a matter of opinion. It's a matter of fact. And the fact that they view the angle that you can't see it from 4 or 5 times more than they view the angles that you can goes to show that they're looking for a reason not to overturn it and have no consideration or thought for the actual facts of the matter, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what it is. Well, it's
Go on.
corrupt. It's corrupt. It can't be anything else because it's there in front of your eyes. We can all see it, and yet we don't give it. What other explanation can there be?
Incompetence.
No, man. No, I disagree with that. I don't. It can't be incompetence. If it was only once, if it only happened once, it could be incompetence.
Twice at the same game.
I mean, twice in the same game. How many times this weekend? Who knows?
No. Liverpool, they disallowed goal for Real Madrid.
Exactly. So it's not incompetence.
Okay.
It's not incompetence.
Yeah. Okay. In your view, I'm sure the EFL lawyers will be in touch.
Yeah.
The thing is, Danny, it was really these playoff games were really, really important from the EFL and a VAR point of view because it's the first time that VAR has been used in the EFL. So for me, it was really important to get it right because this is what we can do going forward. You know, they want to try and bring VAR in the Championship. They want to bring VAR in League 1 to League 2 eventually. It was really important to show to EFL fans who don't watch the Premier League that this can work. Because VAR can work. When it's used properly, VAR is a force for good. And all they've done is shown us that either mixed right, there is corruption, or the people in charge are not fit to use this technology and this equipment because it was just a complete mess.
I mean, they use VAR on the continent and they actually use it a lot more effectively than we do in England. So I think it's partially due to how the English officials apply it and use it. I mean, just take a leaf out of the Bundesliga's book, for example. I think they were one of the first footballing leagues to use VAR, so they know how to use it effectively and efficiently. Whereas in this country, we had a year of using it, and it was so farcical, it became a meme overnight. And it's not got much better now. And personally, I do think that using it in the playoff finals is a little bit of a cheeky pilot to see how it can be used in the EFL. It hasn't gone very well, really, has it? Especially today with those two decisions. I mean, I think the Forest keeper would have saved the penalties anyway, but it's the fact that they just waved away the penalties, checked the angles that were wrong, I agree, Mick, and then just got on with the game. And it's like, same with the Liverpool game. When you really delve deep into the book, you know why the goal hasn't been given. But, you know, it should be like, if there's a clear and obvious error, you know, that's why VAR is in place, a clear and obvious error. If the referee's not given the penalty and he knows the game, fair enough. You know what I mean? And they've checked it and got on with it. But with this one, the clear and obvious error is that it should be a penalty and it's not been given. So it's like, who's been pressing the button that said, no, it's not a penalty? You know, and someone got a little envelope under the table saying, just say it's not a penalty and we'll get on with it. You know, it's a strange thing, VAR. I've never agreed with it personally because the technology is available, yeah, but it's about the application of the technology, which is what makes it efficient. And in England, we don't use it efficiently. So if you can't use it efficiently, you don't use it.
I've said it many, many times, and the issue is you give somebody discretion, and straight away you're going to get different answers, you know. And that's so we've got VAR. We can see whether it's a foul. We can see whether it's a goal kick or should be a corner in an instant, right? But we've brought in this. It needs to be a clear and obvious error, right? Right. So
mute yourself, Ben.
You what?
Sorry.
But the point is, you've then got to define what does clear mean. Then you've got to define what obvious means, because straight away, if you're making that decision, you've got to think, well, is it clear? What does clear mean? What do they mean by clear? What does obvious mean? I mean, I know it's obvious, but it's obvious to me. But is it a clear and obvious error? And you're having to make all these decisions. When in actual fact, the only single decision you need to make is, did he trip him? Yes, he did. But did referee? Was it a clear error? Was it an obvious? And this is what we do. This is what we do with these rules in football. You're asking people, you're asking officials to make instant decisions on incidents that they've got to think through in their head. They've got to work it out. They've got to work out what's happened. We've got to work out whether this part of the rule applies, that part of the rule applies, another part, and so on and so forth. And you're asking them to make these decisions in an instant. It can't be done. And you're blurring the lines all the time with these alterations of rules. The handball rule, is it in his body? Is it out of his body? You know what I mean? You're blurring the lines all the time, and the only net result of that is it's getting officials more and more abuse. That's what happens as a result, because they're not able to make that. No human being is able to make those sorts of decisions in those sorts of environments under that pressure. It's just not possible. You know, I'm saying none. There are the obvious one or two exceptions to that rule, but in the end, the people who are implementing this technology or implementing these rules are making it more and more difficult for the people that they employ. And they're just sending them out there and throwing them under the bus. And it's wrong. For me, anyway. That's, again, it's my opinion. But
in my opinion, you'll play it across the board or not at all. Like, you've seen times where the referee's given a goal kick and it's quite clearly took a nick off a defender. It's gone out for a corner. It's like, well, why doesn't VAR check that then? Exactly. Why have they just cherry picked it and gone, oh, it's the penalties and cards and free kicks?
Again, that's exactly the point, Danny. You know,
we're going down a rabbit hole here.
Yeah, we are.
Come back up.
It's daft in a discussion. Move on.
Yeah, Paramount 2K. So Paramount says, so I take it you think the ref and VR did a good job, Mick. I'm just not sure you're being clear enough.
This is the thing, though. But I'm trying to be as obvious as I can. You know, it's you're going to make that decision, and you've had plenty of time to make that decision, and we're all stood here waiting, twiddling his thumbs. We're all waiting to see whether we can celebrate or not.
Yeah. And the comments, Will Robux is currently in Monaco eating a pizza, but can't miss the podcast. I assume that for the Grand Prix.
Well,
I imagine the pizza in Monaco should be amazing, shouldn't it? Because it's Monaco, everything's got to be amazing,
except races.
Except Formula One races, obviously. Yeah. Yeah. Brian Vernon says Wrexham Grimsby in the playoff. I think it was semi-final. Yeah, for the National League was the best game we've seen in a long time. 5-4. We missed that as a group because we were doing something together. So we managed to miss the best playoff game of the season. So well done us for making that decision. Yeah, brilliant. YouTube user, can you see us getting Reg back on loan now? That's the knock-on effect of the game today, Ben, from us, real, from our point of view. We're going to play Huddersfield next season, which is obvious. They then throws question marks. Are Huddersfield going to play Reg? Are they going to not loan him out to a fellow Championship club? Are they then going to try and sell him because they might not play him? It makes it more complicated. They're going to, I think a loan makes sense, but now it muddies the waters a bit.
Yeah, it's hard to tell really without knowing that Huddersfield squad. If they're not going to play him, then obviously they'll try and get him out. But I think they will play him. I think he's good enough to be played in the Championship level. And I think they'll want stupid money for him. So I think a permanent is not the smartest idea. But if we can get him back on loan, I think that's going to be a good idea. But depends on Huddersfield and what their plan is, doesn't it? Which is hard to tell because I know there's some Huddersfield fans or Huddersfield managers or coaches.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, on the Michael Smith and Michael Heckway, basically the club may well know their decisions by now. We expected the decision by the end of the week. We're recording Sunday evening, so if they don't know by now, they're leaving it late till the end of the week. No murmurs. There's been nothing because it's like Danny mentioned. Smithy's been away. Anything? Has anybody else heard anything, or is it just a matter of just let's?
I mean, I've seen a rumour on Facebook that Icky might be signing for Derby. So if he wants to have a step down, that's his decision.
There's still a bar going on.
Yeah, exactly. But with Icky, there was the initial threat of like he's gone back to a house in on Merseyside. He's gone back there, so that could be like he's moved out of Rotherham and gone there, but it's actually just another house that he owns, so he's gone back home to there rather than being in Rotherham, so he can be with his family from going to say his family's from like round Birkenhead way, around Tranmere, round that way, around the Wirral. I think it's called the Wirral. So that's Icky just doing what every player does. He wants to be with his family during the summer sort of thing. As I've said, Smith's been on holiday, so that's why we've not really heard anything. But I'm confident the club know the decisions. They've just not said anything today because it's Sunday and we're recording, and we'll probably hear something Monday or Tuesday, when either the farewells or the re-signing interview and photos and everything's been done. So we'll just have to wait and see, I think. But I think if they do stay or they do go elsewhere, they go with our best wishes, don't they?
Yeah, but disappointed to see him drop back down to League One. Very disappointed for both of them. I don't think they will, but it would be just disappointing to see that. Let's have a return to Connor Washington, because we put together a little bit of information like we did for some transfer rumours, Ben. It's maybe the first time you've seen this information. So to run through the stats that we have, Connor Washington's 30-year-old, which is maybe the high end of where we'd expect to sign somebody. He signed a 2-year contract on Friday. He's centre forward. He has, in the previous season, 11 goals in 35 appearances and 3 assists. His top Football Manager stat, as everybody knows, that was what we used last time to give us a good idea of where we're looking. His top stat is work rate, which is, that's exactly what Nathan said it would be. His salary at Charlton was rumoured to be about $4,500. The two that stand out for me there, make from a less than positive, are he's 30, which is not old, but it's older than we have signed in the past. And his wage is surprisingly high from what I thought it might be.
Well, we can take those wages with a pinch of salt, can't we? Because we don't know for sure whether that's the case.
Some salary sport, we should say.
Yeah. It's the age that surprised me, I must admit. He's well at the high end of the age group of players that we normally sign. However, we've got rid of Joe Mattock with the experience. If Icky and Smithy don't sign, that's another heap of experience that's gone. Woody, I suspect, won't play every game this season. That's more experience gone. So we need to replace that. So that's possibly one of the things that they've been thinking. I don't know. It does seem a bit of an unusual. I don't know whether unusual is the right word. A bit of a left field signing, really. When it's not mainly because of his age, for me. But yeah, he's experienced. He's an international. We're Rotherham United, and we're signing experienced international footballers. We don't do that, in my experience.
No, that's true. Yeah. Yes. Let's move on. John Morell with a comment on referring. This is going to allow us to segue, John. I appreciate this comment.
Yeah.
John says, I'm amazed that we've signed him, referring to Connor Washington. Freddie would do a better job at this level. Now, talking of Freddie Ladapo, if anybody has read the advertiser in the Paul Davis article that was released last week, it referred to a long-standing rumour. It confirmed the long-standing rumour that Freddie Ladapo refused to acknowledge or shake hands or embrace anybody after the relegation, to Cardiff in the previous season. Basically, in the article, if you haven't read it already, go and read it. I think that's what you should do. It is very, very interesting. Basically, Freddie refused to shake anybody's hands, and basically it got to a point where there was almost a physical altercation between Freddie and another player. Mate, this is just a story that I'm not surprised about, but I'm equally disappointed in it because it shouldn't happen. No, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't, and it is disappointing. I can't disagree with that. It is disappointing, but I'm really loath, unlike some people, to dig him out. Really, I am, and I'm loath because
let Ben do that.
Yeah, well, I'll let you lot do that. I don't know why. I don't know. I just think that everything I hear outside of this incident or these couple of incidents towards the back end of the season suggests to me that he's a decent bloke. he's a decent bloke, and I suspect I might be wrong. And again, I'm just sort of this is. I mean, none of us know, do we? So it's all speculation. I feel he's probably very badly advised and a little bit. I don't want to use the word gullible. Perhaps more easily manipulated than some in terms of the advice that he's given. Also, he obviously thinks he has a high opinion of his own ability, probably above what it actually is. However,
probably
we talked to Alfie. We talked to Alfie about that thin line between arrogance and confidence, and I think sometimes Freddie slips over that line into arrogance rather than confidence because his performances don't back up his belief in his own ability. But everybody's different. We're all different. We all approach things differently. We all deal with disappointment differently. We all deal with the way what we want out of life differently. So you can't dig him out just because he doesn't deal with something the way that you or I would deal with it. That's my view. I think he's given us some good times. He's given us some bloody good times. You know what I mean? I mean, well, you know what I'm referring to. So he scored some goals. He's done his job some of the time. Had he done his job all of the time, then he wouldn't be on his 11th or 12th football club. But that's just how he is. That is the personality that he is, and that's how he's advised. And I suspect there's probably more to that, more in the background than we know about in terms of, the advice that has been given in the past by people outside of football or just inside of football. I don't know.
Yeah, but the kicking off at the end of last season that's not advised. That's his reaction.
It depends, though, doesn't it? It depends. You don't know, do you? You don't know. You don't know what he's been told. What he's been told about. Well, if you stay in Championship, I'm going to get you this, and I'm going to get you the other. I'm going to get you this wage. I'm going to get you that wage.
But that's on him. That's still on him for being able to get.
I accept that. It's how he deals with it personally and mentally himself. I'm not going to dig him out. I'm not.
That's not an excuse. That's not an excuse.
People are different, Ben.
It's still not an excuse. For me, not shaking hands with your own teammates is just it's just disrespectful.
I agree.
It's immature and it's disrespectful. After you've lost the game.
One thing we can say for sure about Freddie is that he's definitely never played the Journey on FIFA, because this is legit the storyline on the Journey. Alex Hunter's agent tries to get him a big deal somewhere and it turns out being false, so he has to drop down and play for somebody else and work himself back up. So, never before has a video game mirrored real life so perfectly, really. But yeah, like you say, it's very disrespectful not to shake your own teammates and manager's hand just because you've spat dummy out because you were brought on too late in a game. That's not the ethos you should have as a footballer, because it's a team sport. That's why it's called teamwork, and it's a football team. And as we know, there's no I in team and there's no I in football either. So, I mean, I wish him well wherever he goes, but it's definitely turned into a sour taste with him leaving now that this story has come out from Cardiff and how the situation in January was handled as well. I hear that Sheffield Wednesday are interested in picking up their interest with him again, so I wish them all the best with that. It's just a shame. We've got good memories of Freddie, the 2 goals he scored at Hillsborough, the other goals that he scored as well, but I think he might now be remembered as the spitting dummy out player rather than the Hillsborough hero, I think.
That's how I remember him, unfortunately, rightly or wrongly.
Well, pull yourselves together and remember him for the good times. Don't just sit here in podcasts and not shake his hand just because he didn't do something you wanted him to do.
I think there's no comparison whatsoever.
Freddie the person is a good egg. Freddie the footballer is a bit of a sour patch, isn't he?
Yeah,
I'll go with that.
We assume he's a good person. We've never met him.
Yeah, met him.
Yeah. Sean Green, how did Freddie pass the Paul Warne? Good and decent person test. He's a very good goal scorer. A very, very
I think he probably is a good and decent person off the pitch. Outside of football.
I hope so. I hope he is. But obviously we don't know, so we can't say. Disappointing. Good luck. Marriage between him and Wednesday seems like a marriage in heaven, doesn't it? Marriage made in heaven. Any other rumours that's popped up? I've seen very, very little other than backwards and forwards about the Smithy one, Smithy and Nicky's contracts. So that we've ruled out Cole Stockton, unsurprisingly. Tom Eaves, I'll do a thing for Tom Eaves next time. We are looking at Tom Eaves. I don't think official talks have taken place, but he is on a list, isn't he, Danny?
Yeah. I remember in the paper reading that Conor Washington was more advanced in the talks, so I think it's a case of touching base with the player himself. But yeah, Tom Eaves is probably still at an agent level at this moment in time. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what comes around with that. What I will say is about Conor Washington's age, he has only just turned 30. He's not been 30 for a fortnight yet. But if you watch the video we put out on New York Talks Twitter, he's quick. You know, he is quick. He can definitely run around. I just hope that Tom Eaves is of a similar age. Just hope he's if he does re-sign, it's a bit better than his other loan spell at Rotherham, and he puts a shift in. But keeping people in the Championship, fighting with that survival, might encourage him a little bit more, if I like to see it that way. But we have held a few contract things. Jamie Lindsay is likely to sign a new 3-year deal. And that's the main reason we didn't extend his previous one, because we've just offered him a fresh one. So hopefully that keeps Portsmouth and such away from him. We're batting them away with some sort of tennis racket or something. So Lindsay's hopefully going to re-sign. Barlas is not going anywhere. He has no intention to move away. So that's him secure, at least for this season, because he wants to do that job in the Championship as well. So yeah, that's all I've got transfer-wise. I've still got a few names on the transfer board that we have talked about before, but now one has got a big tick next to it. So thank Christ.
John Morell and Tom Eaves. We'll have a quick chat on Tom Eaves. He was a real handful. Impressed him last season. Saw him. He scored a hat-trick against us, if you remember, in the FA Cup when Hull beat us. About that and all. He obviously got a hat trick that game with some decent goals. They were all, I think they're all headers, to be honest with you. But they were good.
Offside and all, weren't they? But apart from that, they were really good.
I don't think he was offside. Not that it matters.
No, it matters, is it?
But yeah, he's developed. I'm obviously on loan when they were younger. I think under Steve Evans, but he's developed into a Championship player. If I would be excited to get him. I'm not sure how him and Smith would play together. I don't know if that would work. Or it might do, you know what I mean? You just don't know.
Well, to be fair, I mean, he would be a direct replacement from my memory for Michael Smith.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Rather than playing with him.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's move on to some slightly other business. First of all, we need to say congratulations to Wes Harding, who got married over the weekend.
Yeah.
So congratulations to him. We should
Leslie.
So there are another congratulations to Jamie Proctor, who has won the playoff with Port Vale on Saturday, having 4 years ago been cruelly denied a place at Wembley with Rotherham United just due to injury. He came on and played and got. I have no ill feelings or kind feelings to Port Vale, but I do like Jamie Proctor. I'm really chuffed for him that he's got another promotion under his belt. I like that a lot. And Danny, you've been doing some work down at the Park Gate.
Yes. Yes, I said to Parkgate I'd try and get him a bit more publicity and outreach on the podcast because I went down and helped out with their pre-season preparations, which mainly involved painting a goalpost, which was quite fun, actually, truth be told. But yeah, you talked about Tom Eaves and the Hull game and him scoring that hat-trick. I decided to go to Parkgate after that game to see what they were all about. This is before we played. I knew we'd played him in pre-season and stuff. And yeah, it's a very decent little place at Roundwood. If you're thinking, if you're a bit ummy and ahhry about watching Parkgate against Rotherham, please buy a ticket. It all helps out Parkgate at local level. And if you can admire the new white paint that's on the goalpost, you can say I've done that, so you're welcome. But if someone hits the crossbar on the post, I will wince. That will be paint. But yeah, they are looking for volunteers next Saturday. They say 9:30 start, but they'll be there until about midday, 1 o'clock, trying to get stuff done. Hands off the other goalpost because that's mine though. But yeah, so if you can spare your Saturday morning and try and help them out, they would greatly appreciate it. I was the only volunteer there last Saturday because there was me, the usual people that are there, the tea ladies were there helping, and then the first team manager, assistant manager, kit man, and one of the players was there painting the dugouts. So if you can spare a Saturday morning, get down there and help Parkgate out, because when you go there and watch Rotherham against Parkgate, you can say, I've done that bit.
Yeah, always support non-league. I'm a big supporter of non-league where we can. We play every Saturday, so we don't get to watch any non-league games really. But good to support the local teams. I've ticked everything off my list. Is there anything else that we need to cover, talk about? Park Game friendly has been announced. First official friendly is a Friday the 24th of June. We all look at each other sheepishly. Not yes, Friday the 24th must be.
Is that the pre-season European trip?
Yeah, so from my understanding, they're going to play on the Friday, and then I think they're traveling at the weekend, and that's why it's the Friday rather than the Saturday. It's
Friday the 1st of July, Matt.
Is it?
Yeah, that's when I'm playing.
There we go. You know what I just said. I'm still hungover. It's fine. Yeah, 1st of July. Yeah, I think show's still on this, you're right. It's 1st of July. There we go. We'll see some new signings, see the new kit. I do like. I'm disappointed it's not on a Saturday because I think that's better. But I understand it. There's nothing. It's just one of those things. We don't live in a perfect world, do we? Final call for anything. Benjamin, is there anything you want to talk about?
No.
Okay. Have you worked out where your mute button is yet?
Yeah, I have actually.
Not using it then, yeah?
I did use it. Obviously, you can't tell if you're listening, but I did use it.
Okay, I don't believe you. Mick, anything else you would like to mention?
No, mate. I'm good. I'm much more relaxed now. I've got that out of my system, and happy days.
Yeah. Neil obviously says shame friendlies aren't on iFollow. Yeah, that is a shame. It's worth keeping out for next season. There was talks last season of getting rid of the 3 p.m. blackout, so that may happen next season. So there may be we may be able to watch games if you can't go away games or whatever. Keep an eye out for that. Danny, anything else that you want to mention?
One thing that I've noticed that it might affect Rotherham, but we'll have to wait and see, is that they're introducing legislation for safe standing at all Football League grounds now. And that'll be across the board and should apply from this season. So they're going to have a bit of a quick turnaround with that, to be fair. I have heard conversation before that New York Stadium doesn't really facilitate standing due to angles of seating and a load of technical jargon sort of thing, but there should be a lot more safe standing at football grounds now. Probably not in the Premier League, especially with Liverpool, and maybe Nottingham Forest as well, now that they've gone up. But yeah, it is now allowed. You can put in terracing as long as you make it safe standing, which I think's going to add to a bit of atmosphere in grounds, and will probably cater more towards a younger generation, I do admit. But standing at football grounds is back, which for me, as someone who's seen Rotherham in the Championship more than in League One, will be quite nice to be at, like, say, I don't know, your St Andrews or your Deepdale. Yeah, well, just use it as an example, like your St Andrews and your Deepdale, but actually have terracing to stand on, even though you've got a seat behind you. But it should be nice, we'll see.
John Merrill, the Birmingham fan, we don't have safe stands, let alone safe standing ones.
Well, you know what I'm like, we're wishful thinking, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I don't know what we're going to do this week, to be honest with you. The Sedgwick episode is ready to go. But it's going to be, I think it's going to be a big news week, one way or another, with Icky and Smith and potential new signings. So we are undecided whether there will be a live episode on Thursday. If we're not here live, we will be with Chris Sedgwick. The episode with Chris Sedgwick will be out. So one way or another, there will be a Thursday episode. Thursday night, Friday. Jubilee, they win it, so I don't know. We'll see.
Why does that make a difference? It's Queen.
Let's have a drinking podcast. Yeah.
People. We should probably talk this after. Either way, we'll be back Sunday night, next Sunday night, Monday morning, wherever you choose to listen to us. Please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're creeping up slow to 600. If you want to be involved in the show, let us know. Because like the fan sections, we're working on 2 or 3 other things. We've not got any other former players lined up at the moment, but we will keep working on that, and hopefully we get 1 or 2 before the season starts. And we're only less than a month away from pre-season training getting underway, so we're getting there, aren't we? Please follow us, subscribe, do the iTunes 5-star ratings. I think that's it for now. Benjamin, it's been a pleasure.
Yes.
You and your hair have been an absolute honour to share the screen with.
Thank you.
No problem. Mick, 2 rants today. Well done.
2.
Yeah, you had a rant about the VFL and VAR, and you had another one.
VAR and Freddie.
That was a rant.
If you rant at us.
Yeah.
Cheryl Stone said, "We're nice to hear from Ben Pringle." There is a Ben Pringle episode out. If you go on our YouTube channel, it was probably last summer. So you may have to go back a bit, but there is a Ben Pringle episode, and that is really good. That is really, really cool. We heard from his time on the way he was frozen out by Andy Scott, to the Steve Evans days, to leaving afterwards. That's long. That Carrie Anderson, Ben Pringle, and Michael O'Connor are all very close to each other last season. Danny, pleasure as always, mate. Thank you very much.
Yep, always a pleasure. Until the next one.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you very soon. Freddie's on one-on-one. Can Freddie shoot? Can Freddie shot? Unbelievable! Apologies to the neighbours.